Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, today I want to get on here. A few days ago, maybe a week ago, I put this new wheel and tire setup on the truck. Now, after doing that, it crossed my mind, is it really worth putting new wheels and tires on the truck? What should you consider when you do that? How's the fuel economy affected? I have the fuel economy on the truck. I'll show you right here. And that was before putting the new wheel and tire setup on. That was the average, I guess, tank fuel economy with the fuel, wheels, and the Nitto ridge grapplers on. So we're going to head to the gas station. We're going to fill up. We're going to drive around a little bit. We're going to see if this makes a difference. And I'm going to answer the question, sort of, should you get new wheels and tires for your Tacoma? Stay tuned. We're going to fill this thing up. We were getting, an average of 15.2 miles per gallon. Of course, when I fill it up, it's going to reset. I'll come back on when that's done. We'll show you that. And then we're going to go for a ride. Check out the fuel economy on these new tires. See if it's any better than 15.2. I don't know. Okay, we're all full up, ready to go. Zeroed everything out, and it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of fuel economy I'm getting now, at least as far as what the computer system in the truck measures. Beware that if you change the wheel and tire setup, the system in the truck doesn't know that you did that. So it's not going to be accurate. If you want to get an accurate reading of what you're really getting, then you would need to do that by hand, because the truck is simply not set up for something different. So anyway, in this case, to me, it's kind of like comparing apples to apples, because I had the numbers that were showing before with the larger wheel and tire setup. I've changed nothing other than the wheel and tire setup. We still have the lift. So it's going to be interesting to see at least what the truck shows as far as miles per gallon. Now, while we're doing that, and I gotta say, in the short time that I've been driving since we filled up, wow, I am impressed. We'll see if this continues. And I'm doing the same kind of driving that I normally do, a couple of different speeds, I guess, 35, 45, 55, stop, start, kind of city-like driving. So we'll see what it comes out to be. But it's an apples to apples comparison there, because that's what I normally do anyway. So while we're letting that data propagate or populate, I want to talk about a couple of things. If you're looking to go with a different, larger wheel and tire setup than the OEM, in my experience now, after having that and going back to a more OEM style setup, some things that you might want to consider. First of all, the ride quality. I got to tell you, the larger, more aggressive tires are going to give you a more aggressive ride. There is a pretty big difference in the way that this truck feels now as compared to how it felt with the Nitto ridge grapplers on there, the bigger tires. It is much softer, much smoother, actually takes the bumps a little bit better or lighter than it did before. And I gotta say, I like the ride quality better now. Now, I'm not saying that it's horrible and you shouldn't go out and do it, because it's gonna be, something that you're gonna hate. It's just something different, something that you're gonna have to get used to, if that matters to you. If you're the kind of person that jumps in the truck, takes off, and doesn't feel anything, you're not gonna notice a thing, I don't think, because it's not that extreme. The power of the truck. It is quicker. It does feel quicker with the smaller wheel and tire setup that I have now, the more OEM setup. Now, why is that? Well, the Tacoma, of course, has a V6 motor. It's not the biggest motor, 278 horsepower, something like that, a little less torque. So it has to move those bigger wheels and tires, particularly the tires, around. I mean, they're heavier, they're wider, and it's just more work for the truck to carry them around, to get going. And you feel that when you put them on. So when you go with the bigger tire setup, it is going to rob the truck of a little bit of quickness, of responsiveness, as compared to what it is OEM. I mean, that's what I've experienced since I've had them. I've had them for about a week or so now, I think. And that's what I've experienced so far, is the truck feels quicker, more agile than it did with that bigger wheel tire setup. I don't know. So again, if that's important to you, then you might want to think about what you're doing as far as going with that bigger tire. Now, the other thing that I'm going to talk about is the way they feel. And I don't mean the comfort and the ride quality. I mean the way that they actually feel, let's say, in the steering wheel on the truck. The truck feels more nimble. It feels easier to turn, which makes sense to me because with that wider tire, obviously you've got more rubber on the ground and you have to have more force, I guess, is required just to scoot that tire, if you will, across the ground when you're turning. So it makes perfect sense to me that the steering would feel heavier with that bigger tire on it, and it definitely does. I've noticed, again, these aren't huge differences, but they're big enough that you can certainly tell the difference. Now, given those things, let's take a quick look at the miles per gallon. Now, you guys aren't going to believe this. This is amazing. But anyway, we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to give it just a little bit longer to populate the data, and then we'll take a look at it. Plus, I have to get to an area where I can actually stop and film it without, crashing. So, would I not go, now knowing what I know right now, with a larger wheel and tire setup? No, it wouldn't make that much difference to me. Yeah, there are differences, you can certainly tell, but it's not enough that it would stop me from going with a bigger wheel tire setup, because for me, the aesthetics or the look that you get from that setup is more important. It matters more to me. I'm willing to give up a little bit of responsiveness. I mean, it is a truck, it's not a race car. If I was really concerned about that, I'd go buy, I don't know, the new Corvette or a Viper or something. So that doesn't matter so much to me when it's compared to the aesthetic improvement on the truck. Now, the other benefit that you're going to get, of course, is if you're an off-roader, obviously you want to run a more aggressive tire setup because you need it. I mean, if you're cutting through the mud and climbing up racks and whatever, you obviously want something more aggressive than the OEM setup, unless you like pulling yourself out of mud holes and slipping off the rocks. I don't know. So there definitely is a benefit there, but those are really the only two things I think, from my perspective, that matter when it comes to comparing what you're going to lose in the truck by going to a larger tire setup. All right, let me pull off. I'm at a spot where I can pull off now. We're going to take a look at the calculated current fuel economy in the truck since I've filled up. Been driving around for about 20 minutes or so, so I think we can get a pretty good gauge as to what the truck's going to be. So let me do that and we'll take a look and I'll come back on. Okay, I pulled off right there. You guys can see right here. And it's just amazing to me. Over 20 miles per gallon? What? No way! It makes a difference. Again, I'm comparing apples to apples as far as the onboard system goes, right? I mean, all I changed were the wheels and tires. I didn't do anything else. The truck is still lifted. I didn't put some super octane high mileage gas in here or something. And we're getting over 20 miles per gallon now. Readout on the computer system, and I'm driving the same way I always drive. little bit of slower speed, a little bit of higher speed, the same as what I always do. And what an improvement. I don't know. So, the question begs to be answered, right? Should you go with larger wheels and tires? Well, like I said before, it depends on what matters to you. I would say if ride comfort and fuel economy and peppiness and a lighter steering wheel makes a difference to you, then absolutely not. Why would you go to a larger wheel and tire setup if those things are overly important to you? If you're going to be freaking out every time you get in the truck because it feels different and your fuel economy is lower, then you definitely shouldn't do it. If you're like me and aesthetics matter more than those other things, then absolutely. You should definitely go with a larger wheel and tire setup. Anyway, I just want to get on here, talk about those things a little bit. There's always questions and things about, is it going to make a difference in the truck if you switch out the wheels and tires for something larger and more aggressive? And as you can see, absolutely it does. So I would not recommend that you go with a larger wheel and tire setup if those things matter to you. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Have you experienced these same things in your truck? Are you holding off from going with a larger wheel and tire setup for these reasons? Does it even matter to you? Let me know. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day.